contact Makishia Center on 124.0. Good day.
124.0 Airbus 320. Goodbye. Makishia Center Airbus 320 is passing 1,000 feet, climbing 6,000 feet.
Airbus 320, Makishia Center altimeter 29.904 radar contact. Continue. Airbus 320 climb and maintain 7,800 feet.
Climb and maintain 7,800 feet Airbus 320. Descend and maintain 6,000 feet. Airbus 320.
Airbus tree 20, please expedite your descent 6,000 feet. Airbus tree 20, you are 27 miles northeast. Maintain present heading and altitude. Expect ILS runway 10 approach via Victor Alpha Lima transition. Clear to Victor Alpha Lima.
2,500.
Maintain present heading and altitude. Expect ILS runway 10 approach via Victor Alpha Lima transition. Clear to Victor Alpha Lima. Airbus 320.
Airbus tree 20, contact El Libertador approach on 120.8. Good day.
2,500.
120.8. Airbus 320. Goodbye.
2,500.
El Libertador approach. Airbus 320 is at 7,400 feet, descending 6,000 feet.
Airbus tree 20, El Libertador approach altimeter 30.00 radar contact. Continue to Victor Alpha Lima. Airbus tree 20, descend and maintain 5,100 feet.
Descend and maintain 5,100 feet. Airbus 320. 100 feet, Airbus Tree 20.
Airbus Tree 20, you are 2 miles west of Valencia. Contact Valencia Tower on 118.9er when inbound on the approach.
Tower on 118.9er Airbus Tree 20. Valencia Tower Airbus Tree 20 4 miles west inbound ILS runway 10 approach.
Airbus Tree 20 Valencia Tower. Altimeter 29er.9er 7 wind 09er tree at 8. Cleared ILS runway 10 approach.
Cleared ILS runway 10 approach Airbus Tree 20.
$2,500.
Airbus Tree 20 wind 09er tree at 8. Cleared to land runway 10.
Cleared to land runway 10 Airbus Tree 20.
400. 300. 200. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20, retard, 10, 5.
Airbus 320 exit runway when able. Airbus 320 exit runway when able. Airbus 320 contact ground on 121.9er.
Going to 121.9er Airbus 320. Valencia ground Airbus Tree 20, could you please send a fuel truck?
Airbus Tree 20, a fuel truck is on the road.
Valencia ground Airbus Tree 20, could you please send a ground power unit?
Airbus Tree 20, a ground power unit is on the road.
Valencia ground Airbus Tree 20, could you please send a ramp?
Airbus Tree 20, a ramp is on its way.
Valencia ground Airbus Tree 20, could you please send the baggage?
Airbus Tree 20, baggage is on the way.
Valencia ground Airbus Tree 20, could you please send the catering truck?